Have you heard of flipping businesses?
I've heard of flipping houses.
Flipping business is the same thing. You buy a business, improve it, and then you sell it. I have a client that did this. He did it for 10 different businesses. One of the stories he told me was he bought a Korean barbecue restaurant because the previous owner was running it to the ground.
I declare bankruptcy!
The previous owner had the belief that cheap Korean barbecue, all you can eat, was very low end and disrespectful, and so he wanted to charge a lot more and make it better. The problem is in that demographic, the market, that's what the people wanted, and so when he started charging a lot more, then people stopped coming and his business was just going down. My client bought the business for $20,000, immediately reset the menu, still gave pretty good quality meat just to aim to break even. Within 3 years, he was able to sell that business that he bought for $20,000 for $300,000. And he's done that again and again. And there are huge venture capital firms that do this on a much bigger scale, buying businesses for billions and selling it for tens of billions, right? But local mom and pop shops still dominate the majority of companies in the United States. Think of the way they are running their business. And if you have some insights like, wow, they don't have a website or an Instagram account, if just having those two can increase their revenue by double or triple, and I know how to do that. This is one way where you can retire easily without having a lot of money saved up, without working your butt off, without investing like crazy stocks. It's just by your pure wit.
It sounds kind of fun, like if that's your thing, because you can start so small. It's not like you're risking a ton. It's like a project. It sounds nice because it's almost like you're not bound to any one business. So you kind of just go, you know what you have to do, make it better, use your intellect and your eye and common sense, and then at the end of the day you can walk away from it.
It's a way to continue to have passive income without the two traditional ways of passive income. Having real estate, collecting rent, having stocks that pay dividends. Other than those two, well, you can flip your own business and then now there's synergy. The second story is about flipping people in a way, okay? Not doing flips. There was this, the millionaire client, he is the most altruistic, charitable individual I've ever met. He would meet people and then he would understand their struggle and their talent and form an entire business around that one person. There was a taxi driver that he met, and this person was just passionate about customer service, but he was stuck doing his taxi business. So he created an entire business where this taxi driver ran a company to pick up people to and from parties. Kind of like a party bus transfer. When you help individuals, you are essentially an angel investor. You help them, you fund them, you create a business for them. Now, a typical angel investor, you will want return, you will want dividends. Maybe they give you $1,000 a month. Maybe they give you $10,000 a year spread out. If you do that enough, well, then you have passive income for the rest of your life. What I love about this story is you don't have to be very talented. You just have to be organized and you have to know the system. Most people don't know that, think it's like this overarching barrier, but you just go in and say, I'll take care of all of this for you. Just keep on doing what you love. I'll take care of everything else. And then once you're successful, remember me.
So you'll give me his email then? Yeah.
Got it. Again, traditionally, people work really hard and save in order to retire. But this case, if you have your normal job and then you're able to get another job, if the two jobs have synergy with one another, boom, wealth. Let me explain. We see this all the time. Judges, that's your primary job you do for 30 years. And then your next job, you start your own private practice. You see the synergy, right? Yeah. Because of what you've been doing for your whole life, you have a special insight into the operation that now you're able to serve in a different capacity. And the cost is extremely low. So many of these two job synergies what I'm talking about, where you quit and go, you just operate out of your home. There's no office, there's no overhead. Your overhead is literally your salary.
I feel like I've seen that a lot with like academics too. Like a family friend, I think she was like a math teacher for like a couple years, and then she just tutored. What her hourly rate for tutoring math in her house was like way better than her teaching job, and it's flexible. And so I feel like I've seen a lot of that. It doesn't have to be crazy. Yeah. It's just because she maybe taught math for like those 2 years, now people will pay like $50 for 30 minutes to tutor their kids. and there's always more kids.
Yeah. The formula I've seen is people work till about 40 or 50, and then in their golden years, right before they hit retirement, they come out and they do their own private practice, their own company of some sort. In the last 10 years of your career, you make more than the first 30 years combined. And the takeaway that I see from this is that in those first 20, 30 years, as you're working, you don't necessarily have to save and invest. You take what you earn and you invest it back in yourself. And you continue to level up and you continue to learn more in what you're doing. And then you know that in your prime, that is when you're gonna make the splash. You have patience with yourself, right? 20, 30 years, you're building up their skill set, and then in that 10 years, you make your mark, and then the rest is legacy.
So if you're in a really like traditional business, structured work environment, and you're not necessarily in a leadership position, but you've got one of those ideas, how do you go about presenting it and having leadership really listen and take you seriously?
Really focus on what problem is this solving and wait for that problem to arrive before you pitch it. If somebody, you want to pitch the idea of a better system to plan out holidays, don't pitch it when there's no holidays. Pitch it when suddenly the boss has to look through all the requests and notes from everybody, and he has to sit down on the weekend and plan it out what's the best way. At that point, like, oh, I could do that for you. There's actually a good app and system that does this already. By doing this system, you could just approve or deny. It's instantaneous and it's completely free. And by the way, can I have this day off? Wait for the problem to arrive. And then immediately solve it.
It's kind of like, because people will think like, oh, I just got lucky, you know, or like the timing worked out well and that's just kind of how it happens. But you're saying basically just wait it out and let that opportunity come to you, right? Patience, basically. And it's not just luck, it's being a little sneaky in a good way and letting people experience the problem as opposed to trying probably to convince them that it is a problem when it's not felt at that moment.
The best time to pitch and the best way to pitch is not a fancy presentation, is when you are directly talking to leadership, showing them the problem and then offering the solution.
How can we attain happiness, and not just for a moment, right? How can we truly be happy?
So when I was thinking about this particular topic, I didn't really get to one magical answer. But what I did find is that there's a way to improve your mood significantly. And if your mood is better, then chances are you're much happier.